What's one of the dumbest lies that a man has ever told you? I'll go first. Met this man on Bumble, as one does, dating in the year of our Lord 2024, and unfortunately he lives in Florida, I live in Texas. We are having a really great conversation. He decides he wants to come visit the next week. Throughout our conversation, he's telling me that he's a tax attorney and he was furloughed during COVID, and he used to grind, working, those 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, but no more. And his new job is super understanding, so he only works 40 hours a week. I bring that information to one of my best friends who's married to an attorney, and I was just telling her all about him and everything, and she's like, Holly, you would not know this, but those are red flags. I don't think he's telling the truth. And I was still trying to give the benefit of the doubt, because I'm like, you know what? His situation may be very different. And I went back and I asked him, I said, okay, when you say you're working 40 hours a week, you're billing 40 hours a week, or you're working 40 hours a week? And he said he's only working 40 hours a week, and he's only billing like 25 hours a week. And then because I have no shame, I said, if you don't mind me asking, since you are essentially working a part-time job, what's your billable hour? And this man told me, as essentially a baby lawyer, he's like less than 5 years old, I think, he's billing $1,050 an hour. I didn't realize what an insane number that was, just because I'm like, yeah, attorneys make a stupid amount of money. I don't know how much, but sure, I don't know. Apparently that's insane for a baby lawyer, because apparently partners that have been in the game for 20 years, I don't know, they only charge $650 only, but they're not even charging $1,000. They charge maybe $600 to $800 an hour. And after this guy came to visit, I decided I didn't really want anything to do with him. And I'm telling my friends about the date, and I was like, I don't know, just something, something just kind of seemed off. It was a wonderful date. He was very respectful, he was very nice, no qualms on that, but just something felt off, and I really was going crazy of thinking, is it just my guard being so high up from all of my traumatic dating experience, or am I really sensing that something is off? My friends, being the great friends that they are, look him up on the Florida bar. And you want to know who's not an attorney in the state of Florida? It is a man I will not be saying, because I don't want to say his name on the internet, but it's that man that came to visit me. And you might be like, Holly, why wouldn't you do that in the first place? Well, it's because I looked up his LinkedIn, and his LinkedIn had all of his education, it had his LLM and his JD and everything like that. And so then I went into a further deep dive, and I start fact checking everything on his LinkedIn, and all of that was correct. But the one thing that wasn't on there was his current place of employment. Time goes by, I don't hear from him, because the last conversation I charged him up about something that he did that really irritated me, and that's a whole other story. So I'm thinking, I'm never gonna hear from this man again. And then a week later, I get flowers on my doorstep. So I called him and I said, are these from you? Because they weren't addressed from anybody. And he goes, yeah, they were. Do you like them? And I said, yes, I do. And we were just talking about random stuff. And I said, okay, also while we're on the phone, why can't I find you on the Florida State Bar? And he said, oh yeah, you know that story I told you from a few years back with my ex filing that TPO and lying to the police and everything? Well, kind of an ethics committee is doing an investigation right now. And so they switched my license to inactive while it's going on. And so I'm asking about when this is going to be resolved. And he says, oh, October is probably about the time. And then, you'll see me, my whole history and everything on there. So October's looking when it's going to be resolved. And I said, oh, October? You mean like when people get their bar results back? October? It's a real coincidence that's around the time your license is going to be reactivated. One thing that I wish I could have said was, you would still show up on the Florida bar if your license was inactive, because whether you're suspended, inactive, dead, you show up on the Florida bar. There is no person by his name on the Florida bar. And this man he kept lying to me. And that is the dumbest lie that somebody has told me this year. My friends, being the great friends that they are, look him up on the Florida bar. And you want to know who's not an attorney in the state of Florida? It is a man I will not be saying, because I don't want to say his name on the internet, but it's that man that came to visit me.
I don't get why men and just people in general actually have to lie for. What's the need? There's no purpose to do that. And the fact he's coming over and they're speaking to this woman, a great conversation, as so she said. He says that he's billing people over $1,000 an hour. That's an extortionate amount of money per hour to be making as an attorney. And she did some research, and she was told by someone else that even the people really high up in that sort of line of work don't even on average charge The numbers don't even reach 1,000. So where has he got that from? I don't know. Was he trying to show off and act all impressive towards this woman? I don't know. The way to act impressive is one, just not to lie to her. Like, just common sense. Like, seriously. Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, and obviously with this woman, she didn't really understand. Well, she doesn't know the kind of work that he's doing. He went from doing 80 hours a week to 40 hours a week, but only billing 25. She's just taking it, whatever he says goes, because at the end of the day, she's not in the industry and she doesn't quite know what it's like and what's standard and standard rates in the industry.
One thing that I wish I could have said was you would still show up on the Florida bar if your license wasn't active, because whether you're suspended, inactive, dead, you show up on the Florida bar. There is no person by his name on the Florida bar. And this man he kept lying to me. And that is the dumbest lie that somebody has told me this year.
Obviously, this is one big lie that he's been caught out on, unfortunately for him, and thankfully this woman, alongside someone who actually is in that line of work, managed to help her pick up on his trail of lies. The fact that he's not actually seen or registered visibly public on the Florida bar is a concern if you say that you're an attorney and that you get some sort of results or something like back in October. It's a real coincidence. And the fact that when this woman actually confronted him about it and says, oh, like when you get your results back in October, that kind of October, I'm sure that's when he most definitely realised that he'd actually been finally caught out in his pack of lies. But also what gets me is the fact that obviously their conversation kind of ended after the incident prior to this one. The fact that a week later just randomly sends her flowers on her doorstep, he must have been feeling a sense of guilt and obviously wanted to try and pursue something with this woman, yet his storytelling of lies has unfortunately held him back, as he obviously continued to lie even after getting back on speaking terms with this woman, who I'm most sure heard enough from this man. I'm sure she'll be happy to move on.